Philly's favorite, welcome to another Real Talk with the Real Estate Diva, Desarrie McDuffie. This morning, our guest has such an inspiring story to share. Trust me, this is one for the books. So stay tuned. Let's go.
This is Desarrie Real Estate Diva McDuffie. We are here with another episode of Real Talk with the Real Estate Diva. And we have an amazing guest for you today. We have Mr. Dawud Bey, real estate developer, entrepreneur, community advocate, and so on and so forth. Mr. Power Man right here. And we were blessed to have him in our presence today. And I just want to thank you, Mr. Dawud, for being here today.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
Welcome.
Absolutely. Yes. Welcome. Yep. So listen, like I said, I thank you for being here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into real estate development, your whole background, all that good stuff. We want to know it all.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, thank you again for having me here. It's really an honor to be here. And I'm that around the way guy, that come from South Philly, been through some of our stereotypical struggles that a lot of African-American individuals, and particularly African-American males, find themselves caught up in, growing up in the streets of South Philadelphia and in Philadelphia and in America in general. It's been a lot of challenges and learning experiences. And it's been a lot of blessings, too, a lot of fun opportunities and things to that extent. But, again, I'm that guy from South Philly that, started out right there on 23rd and Tasker, grew up right in the Point Breeze area.
My neighborhood, y'all.
Right in your hood.
Right in my hood.
Went to school with your sister. We went to South Philly High. She was real prominent, you know what I mean?
Yes, my sister was very prominent.
She was known, Goldie with the golden eyes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I went to South Philly during that time and, playing basketball and different things to that extent. And that was my primary goal and dream at one time, is to be a basketball player.
Oh, okay.
And if it was something that a person would ask me, well, what did you want to be? Basketball was my thing. Like, that's one thing that I wanted to be as a child growing up, wanting to, follow some of the dreams of some of my neighborhood legends and stuff like that. Playing in South Philly, growing up with guys like Clarence Tillman and Nate Blackwell and Lionel Simmons and guys from that, that era. And, we was all chasing that, that dream of playing basketball, but then you get caught up in the streets.
In life, yeah.
Caught up in life or in the streets for the most part for me. Like I say, dropping out of school, being a high school dropout, then getting caught up into the streets, mom being incarcerated, when I'm like 16, 17 years old.
Okay.
And just having a lot of, I guess, traumatizing experiences that we can reflect on now and see the impact that it had on ourselves and on our communities and on our families and stuff like that. And, a person, matter of fact, Kenny Gamble once told me that your past always catch up to you. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, when he said that, it's like, like my whole life went past me when he said it. And probably like 6 months later, I was incarcerated at the time. You know what I mean? Because again, like, you do things and you experience certain stuff, and like he said, your past catches up to you. Right. And for me, it was a fortunate situation to a degree, from, in hindsight.
It was a fortunate situation that you were incarcerated?
Yeah, to an extent, you know what I mean? Because it's like you never know what other challenges could have faced you, you know what I mean, growing up in the streets and stuff like that.
That's for sure.
And when you living as lopsided as I was living, you know what I mean, if you're grateful to God, you know what I mean, you're able to come through that experience. In hindsight, you definitely see the blessing in it, because at the end of the day, you could have been called back. You could have been dead.
Yeah.
And
so you could have been spared.
Even natural causes. Like, you understand? But at the end of the day, when you see yourself come through, certain challenging experiences and stuff like that, and you have an opportunity to kind of reset. Going to prison, gave me an opportunity to kind of reflect on my past and my present and what I actually really wanted to do. So it kind of helped me organize my thought process to make a decision on really who is it that you really want to be, and how do you really want to be remembered. You know what I mean? So when you start sitting down and thinking of things like that, and sometimes just unfortunate in that sense that I had to go to prison and see it from that perspective, but not that I live oblivious to that reality, but at the end of the day, when you actually go through that experience, you see the impact that it have on your family and your kids and different things to that extent. So, for me, it allowed me, like I said, to organize my thought process and catch one of those aha moments, one of them conscientious moments that you have, even when you involved with some of the nonsense that you're in, but you don't hear it because you're
so involved.
The tone of the music, or the tone of the money, or the tone of the money machine, or the girls, and all of the things that's going on in that type of environment, that volume or that octave level is higher than that conscious that's telling you, you shouldn't do that. Like, you understand? Yeah. But when you get in prison, for me in particular, I always call it that ceiling experience. You know what I mean? When you sit on that top bunk in that prison and you look at the ceiling and you just start to think, and you have no opportunity but to think. Especially with me, I did 4 years of solitary confinement.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Doing 2 years here, then, it's different stints, but a total of 4 years of solitary confinement. You know what I mean? So when you're in those kind of closed environments like that for long periods of time, you're forced to do nothing but figure out who you are. Yeah. At the very least. You understand what I'm saying? And some people couldn't figure that out, like, you know what I mean, sometimes, because it's really a tough experience. It's really unconstitutional, and it's inhumane for anyone to go through that experience. But for me, I was able to, utilize that time to really understand who I was and what I wanted to do, moving forward in life.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it was some beautiful experiences too, when you reflect and see how you can go through certain experience and get growth and development out of that. You know what I mean? So with me, that was my experience going through that, So coming home, you know what I'm saying, and making the transition, for me, it was pretty easy. You know what I mean? Unlike a lot of other individuals, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard. And I wouldn't say too easy, but it was consistent.
Okay. Because you were focused.
Yeah, without
you knew
interruption.
What you wanted to do. Okay.
You understand? And I've been home now for 10 years now.
Oh, wow. And may I ask, how long were you incarcerated?
I was incarcerated for 10 and a half years.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like, coming home, making that transition, at first it was difficult just for me dealing with authority, as it's always been. I was getting right up, going in the hole for 4 years, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, because I just had a problem with this, people just dictating your life like that, you know what I mean? You put yourself in that position, and one of the reasons why I got focused when I got home, because I didn't want to be in that position that people were putting me in a position to tell me how to dictate my life, when to get up, when to do this, when I can do that. And that was one of the biggest frustrations being in prison, is having a bunch of idiots directing over your life. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But so in the first stage of my coming home and having to make that transition, that was tools that I used to help me stay focused, not wanting to put myself back in crazy positions, dealing with people that was so ignorant. You know what I mean? Like, just because you in prison, the people that's governing over you could be worse than the people that's in there.
That's true.
You understand? So I didn't want to put myself or my family back through that type of situation again. So I always use that as tools of reminders of what I don't want to be subjected to no more. So I really went hard. You know what I mean? First I came home dealing with the music stuff. You know what I mean? Come home dealing with Meek Mills, my nephew Tiffy Bey, Tiffy Bey. That's my young boys and my nephew. You know what I'm saying? One of my just favorite persons. And Tiffy Bey, he was, close with Meek Mills at the time, and they was running around. We had a company called Do For Self. And Do For Self was our entertainment company that, Tiffy wanted to start when I come home. And I really was reluctant. I didn't want to be involved with the music business because it really kept you too close to the streets.
Okay.
You know, but for the sake of some of the young guys that was going through the things that they was going through in the music business, in particular starting out with Meek Mills, I took a liking to Tiffy and wanting to help him, and Tiffy wanting to help Meek. That's his guy, and then Meek just was, me and him clicked when I met him, and he was just a young kid, trying to figure his way through the system and looking at the system from a perspective that was unfair. He was on probation probably at the time. And then when I met him, probably like 8 years at least.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 10 years maybe at the time. But at the end of the day, it was just like, he was only like in his 20s, like, So he's been on probation at the time most of his adult life, and didn't believe in the system, to be able to help him with elected officials and different things to that extent like that. Because I try to get him to do a petition, to change and reform the probation system, before he got violated. Mm-hmm. But he didn't believe in the system, which was, totally understandable because, the system ain't do nothing but fail us as a generation or as black people forever. Like,
yes,
you understand?
Absolutely.
So, understanding that, we didn't really start the petition at that time, but when they finally got locked up the second time, because the first time we did a lot of good community service work. We was doing a lot of school tours and going to different schools. We had the Dream Chaser school tour and stuff like that, where Meek could get out and be totally vulnerable to the people, talking to them about his experience, and people getting the opportunity to know who exactly was Robert Williams. As opposed to just who was the character of Meek Mills. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think that, helped him, a lot in his growth and development. And he started getting more thirsty and wanting to learn more and wanting to do more. And then when he finally did get arrested is when we started the petition of Somebody Save Free Meek Mills.
Oh, okay.
And that petition garnered maybe like 5,000 followers at the time.
I remember that. Yeah.
We put that out, and that got a lot of national attention. And then, Rock Nation, Jay-Z, and Mike Rubin, and Robert Kraft, and everybody got involved because it was their first time even seeing somebody, probably even being that close to somebody that was even in prison before, but just seeing how the system worked with a guy that they had an impression that was just totally a beautiful person. You know what I mean? They just couldn't see how a system can just take a person's life away from them like that. Yeah. And they got more enthusiastic about the program, about the system and wanting to make change. And we ended up getting the Meek out, and then we started Reform Alliance.
Wow, nice.
That's when I became an advocate, for criminal justice reform. I was the Pennsylvania grassroots organizer for reform, working under Van Jones. And, just doing a lot of stuff like that, going up into Pennsylvania, lobbying, actually having real lobbying, experiences and getting the opportunity to train people how to tell their story, to legislators within 90 seconds, because you only got a certain amount of time to talk and we got to move them around. Yeah. So it was a really good experience to help build my executive experience. You know what I'm saying? Just building my executive experience and growing as an executive, and it was a great run. You know what I'm saying? It was great things we was able to do, and then we started working with Lil Uzi, doing like turkey drives and stuff like that with him, and P&B Rock. We did a lot of stuff with him with his, may God bless and forgive him of his sins, and rest in peace, P&B Rock. That's my man. We lost him just recently, which was devastating to us and the whole city. And that kid was just a beautiful guy, giving us an opportunity. I was just starting out my company, Fine Print, BCL, Brandon Culture Lifestyle. It was a company, me and Tiffany Williams from Belargo's. Belargo, with Belargo Boys, me and her started that. And we started getting into artist development, and artist management and stuff like that, know. And so we was pushing Do For Self, pushing Fine Print, BCL, and just pushing, just for the whole Philadelphia in general, trying to help the young rappers and young entrepreneurs understand that if, we can do it, or if you see other people doing it, it's things that you can do outside of just being in front of the camera all the time, dealing with the music directly or entertainment directly from that perspective. But, it was just all about a transition.
Are these initiatives that you're still involved in?
Well, I'm still an advocate for prison reform. Not for a particular company, but just doing different things behind the scenes, talking with different legislators. Supporting different initiatives and stuff like that. We was really proud to be a part of the First Step Act.
What exactly
is that? First Step Act was a federal bill that came out to really help change legislation as related to how federal inmates was being sentenced, and how they was the type of good time, earned time that they was getting because they was being cheated out of their good time, earned time credits and stuff, stopping pregnant women from being shackled and handcuffed during the time of their pregnancy and like 2 months after, just giving people their dignity back, you know what I mean? Yeah. And the good time, earned time really got like thousands of people out of prison early because they actually got the credit for the good time and got out early.
So they weren't getting credit for that before?
No, they was kind of like shorting us, like, because I was a federal inmate, and it was kind of shorting us on it's supposed to be like a year off for every 5 years or something like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
54 days, I believe it was, a month. 54 days a year you're supposed to get off. So if you have a significant amount of time, you might get a couple years early, Yeah. So that stuff mean a lot, and keeping people within 500 flying miles of their families instead of 500 driving miles. 500 driving miles, man, that could take all day. Yeah. You understand? But flying miles is like, it's almost that they got to keep you within the close proximity of your family, which is good. So we did a lot of good things with that. And when you look at those bills and look at the organizations that was a part of those bills, you will see Fine Print and Do for Self a part of that.
Nice. Well, thank you for the work that you're doing in the community. It's very important.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of young people who look up to you, and your journey, see where you've been, right? Yep. And then know where you're going and where you've come from, at least, right? What you're doing now. And I don't want to pivot but too much, but let's just stay where we are now because we are talking about the gun. Well, we're talking about the gun violence.
That's a good topic.
Absolutely.
Because
so
it's another transition.
Exactly, right? So I know that you've been instrumental in, those initiatives. Let's talk about the gun violence in the city, right? And what do you believe is the solution to ending, or not? We probably will never end it, right? But maybe, reducing some of the gun violence in the city.
Well, we did a lot of work as related to that, to be honest. Putting together whole strategic plans for gun violence. And one of the things throughout our research that we learned, because during a couple of years ago, I started studying like various different cities, Oakland, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, and places like that somewhat had some success with managing conflict.
Okay.
Because you didn't grew from the conflict resolution thought process, because as you study this stuff, you start seeing that some of the professionals or experts in this is actually people that come from the streets. So some of the guys that I started, communicating with and talking to as related to that I knew was from the streets and that got into this type of work, they was like, no, man, we don't even talk about conflict resolution no more. It's about conflict management, because you don't never necessarily resolve an issue. You could just manage it.
Right.
So even thinking it from that perspective and educating yourself about it, you kind of understand the approach that's needed to reduce gun violence. Not necessarily ending gun violence. You know what I mean? Because to be honest with you, some people just going to die and deserve to die. They do all kind of outlandish stuff to people. You don't have no choice but to kill somebody sometimes.
Yeah.
Like out here.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? But we want to reduce violence, and if you reduce it, the way about going about it, because it's about prevention and intervention. You know what I mean? For years, it's been the focus on prevention. Basketball leagues, school activities, this and that. That's all stuff to help prevent gun violence. What I learned, and I noticed the weakness that was within the system, is that no one had an idea on how to stop the gun violence once it started. You understand? Like, okay, how do you stop it once it started? You need intervention now. And how do you intervene with those type of serious situations when you got 5 guys that got killed on this side and 2 guys got killed over here? You understand? How do you intervene with that?
What does that look like?
That's a hell of a struggle. It looks just like that. 5 guys dead over here, 2 over there. You understand?
And so it takes someone to come in.
You understand? Yeah, it's like, and then you start hearing and people picking up on the language that we start pushing about credible messengers. Because you have to have credible messengers. You can't just have guys that this was a part of the struggle of the black community, of community, and think that they got street credibility. You understand? It's a difference. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have people that's credible that can really approach these guys because it's about respect.
I was about to say credible and respected.
It's about respect. You know what I mean? So, we brought a lot of stuff, to the table that I would just been able to be instrumental in, just as far as helping the city understand what that approach even looked like. I mean, and how do you do that? We literally sat down with every department you can almost think about in the city government. You understand? Dealing from the probation, head of the probations, the head of parole, the head of the courts, the head of the judges, the police commissioners, the DA office. You understand? Like, the Office of Violence and Prevention. You have to talk to all these organizations to help them understand that this is a state of emergency. You understand?
And you do believe it's a state of emergency.
It's a pandemic. You understand? There got to be the cure, and it need a vaccine. You know what I'm saying? And the vaccine is intervention. You understand? And cultivation. And you have to have people, that understand the complexities of dealing with these guys on the streets like that, because it's like I said, have a lot to do with respect.
Do you think that the city has these people in place now? Or they're still working on it?
No, they don't necessarily have the people in place.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Is a work in progress. You understand? But they understand because now they know and they understand, and it's just a matter of bringing the right people together, and to be honest with you, some of these guys, they need to let out of jail that's qualified to do the work. You know what I'm saying? Because they've been doing the work in the jails.
Right.
You understand? Conflict management. Guys who taught me that had just come out of jail.
Wow.
You understand? But they study this stuff. And they deal with conflicts all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying just letting a bunch of idiots out of jail that's going to come out and murder people and stuff, because we had issues dealing with that, dealing with parole. 6 guys might have got out during the time of the work that we was doing with parole, come out jail and kill people. You understand? Now we couldn't even fight parole issues the way that we want. Because it was causing too much flack or pushback, because you got these guys come out and set a bad example. You understand? So we focused on probation, which was nonviolent crimes and stuff. You understand? Okay. But then the real focus is to change parole reform as well. But all of that stuff goes aligned with each other, where you have to have all of these people on the same page. That's why you call it a state of emergency, because they have to understand that all of these departments that I mentioned earlier have to be working in conjunction on the mission. And along with street credibility, you need science, you need academia, and you need street credibility. You understand? Those are the remedies that really bring that stuff together.
Okay. Okay. Well, hopefully, we have a new mayor coming on.
Sherelle
soon.
Parker. Yeah, first black mayor. I'm supporting Sherelle.
Yes.
And she to me, I think Sherelle has what it take to bring people together. Okay. She understands it. She know how to articulate it.
Does.
She know how to bring people in the room and make them feel a part of the conversation. That's like what she do really well. I've been like really peeping her from afar, just looking at her, and I think she got that type of talent to be able to bring people together, because this what the city need. Everybody a bunch of, you know what I'm saying, just arguing and beefing, and don't nobody want to come together. Everybody just, like in Hollywood, when I used to live out LA, we used to call it, everybody got their own theme music. You know what I mean? They come out, they just somebody that they not, like, you know what I mean? Just,
living in their own little bubble.
And nothing never get done.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Everybody love a bunch of meetings, and they have a meeting for the next meeting and meeting for the next meeting.
Yes.
And nothing never get done. You need people in there that's paying attention to the solutions. Because people saying shit, and certain stuff is coming out, you know what I mean, that's worthy. But if you don't got nobody listening, or know what, this is a takeaway, that's a takeaway, you know, here's a follow-up, you know, and doing things like that, you ain't gonna never get nothing done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm the type person that I like to figure out what the action items is.
I'm the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
And carve it out. That's why I named my company Fine Print. And pay attention to the details, like, you know what I mean, get the work done.
What's the solution? We gotta
Solution
move
based
forward. You know, not sit around talking about it. All right, what are we going to do?
Right, what are you going to do?
What are we going to do about it now?
It actually takes some
implementation.
Type of movement,
Yes,
you know what I mean? Implementation to get things done.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully, prayerfully, Miss Sherelle Parker, you know, will begin to implement some of the things that you were discussing, because it does sound like you know what you're talking about. You know, you're credible.
Right.
Respected.
Right. Yep.
You know, experience.
And that's the experts of it. Like, you know what I mean? I done been dealing with people from with Harvard degrees and write books and work for Obama administration and this and this and that. But when it comes down to talking this talk and putting this stuff together, and not even talking this talk, but implementation of what needs to be done, how do you go about that idea that you got?
Absolutely.
Okay, you got this idea, you have these analytics, you understand, you have this data, you know what I mean, but what's the approach?
Okay.
Then that's when your game time experience kick in. If you don't have game time experience, you can't reach back into the deep folders in your mind and get that, you know, like, I was here before, I understand what this means. You understand? If you can't get in that pocket, you're dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of just bringing the right people in the room, the right people together to bring about real solutions.
So, let's just say there's a parent, mother, father, and they believe that their child is going down the wrong path, right? They may, you know, be involved in some things. They believe they may have guns, whatever. What do you think a parent should do?
Parent.
What does that look like, in your opinion?
Guidance.
Discipline. Discipline.
Focus. Having eyes.
Paying attention, basically.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
Intervening if they think.
Being quiet to allow your natural instincts to kick in and tell you what the hell to do. Parent, take care of your damn kids the way you're supposed to. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you just be quiet and allow your consciousness to seek in, it's telling you what to do. You know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Parent your kids. Like, take care of your children, and, you know what I mean, get them the love and the guidance that they need. Like, you know what I mean? Stop this thinking they're going to figure stuff out on their own. They ain't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a difference. Like, you know what I mean? You just got to actually really just give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you do, all that other stuff going to kick in on what you supposed to do within that situation, whatever that may be. You know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, they say that parents aren't parenting.
Yeah,
today.
They wild as I don't know what, man. You know what I mean? The younger they get, you know what I mean? Guys is in prison, you know what I mean? The fathers ain't around and stuff like that. Girls don't know what to do, you know what I mean? The dudes don't know what to do. People think you just automatically have an innate ability to know how to take care of your kids, but you got to learn it. There's some learned stuff to go along with it. I'm not just saying that it's just an automatic thing, but if you just pay attention to certain stuff, you know what I mean, certain things you just automatically just going to kick in, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But then as far as how to really set the blueprint for a child, which is not really no blueprint out there for that, you know what I mean? But if you want to learn about education, you got to learn about education. You want to learn about child care, you got to learn about child care. You know what I'm saying? And health and wellness and whatever the situation may be, that whatever it takes to raise a child, a human being. You know what I mean? And it's just a matter of you knowing what you want for your child and wanting for yourself and reaching out to get those resources. Because right now, it's almost no excuse to be totally ignorant. I'm not saying you got to know everything, but it's almost no excuse to be totally ignorant or oblivious or whatever. It's any topic damn near. You know what I'm saying? Want to know about brain surgery?
Google it.
May not be able to do it.
Yep.
But hey, you're gonna get a basic idea of what it is. They got the whole thing on the video.
Yes.
Showing you what brain surgery is. So there's almost no excuse to be totally ignorant. You know what I'm saying? About any one particular topic. Unless
That's
you just
true.
don't want to know about it. It's everything you don't need to know about everything. But hey man, you wanna know about how to be a parent, Google it.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? You know how to be in a relationship?
Google it.
You know what I'm saying?
Google University.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's there. The information is out here. Like, growing up, I'm 55. A lot of this information wasn't as accessible. We had to really learn how to get that information, from different people and different sources and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's the whole thing, is just figure out what you got to do to try to, educate yourself and take care of your family, man.
Absolutely. You have been listening to Real Talk with the Real Estate Diva. This is Desarrie, Real Estate Diva McDuffie, and we are here with Mr. Dawud Bey, entrepreneur, community advocate, real estate developer, and that's
General contractor.
I didn't know. General contractor. Okay, so that's going to actually segue us into our next, segment, right? Which is housing and affordable housing, because that's also something that's extremely important in our communities. My background, just really quickly, we were talking about me a little bit earlier. I was working in social services for 10 years prior to getting into real estate. And one of my biggest reasons for getting into real estate was because I recognized that the demographic that we were servicing, most of them were not homeowners. They lived in public housing, grandmom's house, or, with family. I'm boring you?
No.
He just yawned, y'all. But those of you who can't see, he just yawned. But no. But yeah, so I worked with this population of people, and most of them were not homeowners.
Right.
So part of the reason why I got my real estate license is because I wanted to help people to be able to purchase homes that thought that they couldn't purchase homes. And I noticed that there was a gap in the system, because I, at the time, was trying to purchase my first investment property, and I couldn't find a real estate agent that was good to help me, because I wasn't spending a whole lot of money. I was only spending like $30,000,
Right.
and no one wanted to help me because of, it wasn't a lot of money. So I said, once I became a real estate agent, I won't become that agent that's quote unquote too big, that that I'm not accessible to people in my, and people say it has actually hurt my career a little bit, but I don't care, because I truly believe this is what God has called me to do. But, I'm passionate about helping people in my community to be able to own houses. Not just own them, but be able to retain ownership of those houses that they already have within their families and all of that. So with that being said, housing is extremely important to the stability of the family, so that families are not moving around and transient, and, children need a place that they can feel like, is home to them. So what's your initiative in affordable housing, sir?
Well, it's been kind of a big joyride for me lately, honestly. Affordable housing is very important. Actually, the city of Philadelphia needs about 10,000 affordable houses within the next 3 to 5 years. you know, to help fill some of the gaps that's there for some of the old vouchers that's expiring, and for just the need of people who just don't have housing. You know, is a vast amount of people that's going to be, you know, looking for houses within the next 2 to 3 years. So affordable housing, to me, will help lower the risk of gun violence.
In what way?
Well, how do I know? Is from my lived experience. I'm a young guy growing up in South Philadelphia. My house burned down when I'm like 16 years old. You know, I was going to school every day, catching a bus, 2 buses to get to the school that I went to, West Philly High. I live in South Philly. And when my house caught on fire, like, now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to put a roof over my head at a young age. Like, you understand? Mom went to prison, as I mentioned earlier, you know, and it's just like, you know, you trying to figure out how you going to get some kerosene to heat up a small little room or something. So, let alone, you know, talking to me about anything positive, like going to school and doing the things that I was supposed to be doing, you know, because that adulthood, like, hits you, like, out of nowhere.
Yeah,
so from that lived experience, it kind of, I could see that kind of contributing to me accelerating to the streets even faster at a young age, like, you know. So affordable housing is very important, and I'm super happy to be involved with a program called the Turn the Key program. So we have a Turn the Key program where we build 1,000 houses in Philadelphia. And these houses would be houses sold at $250,000 per house. But the Turn the Key program is going to be to give them up to $60,000 grant money to help buy down the affordability of the house. And along with that, you get the first-time home buyer grants of another $10,000. And then some of the banks that we're working with gives them an additional $10,000. So you can get these houses somewhere in the neighborhood of 170, 160.
Nice.
You know, in Point Breeze and in Grace Ferry area, in neighborhoods that you can't find nothing down there, you know, as a realtor, for no less than $400,000, $325,000, $375,000 for a small single family house like where you used to live at, Latona Street. You know, so you can't even get nothing down there for those numbers no more. So what we pushing is long-term home ownership and generational wealth.
There you go.
You know, and because you figure a person get a house for 160, 170, and the house worth 325, 400, they already, you know, getting equity of $100 and something thousand. And then 15 years later, when the deed restriction runs out, because there is a deed restriction on it, because they want us to keep it affordable for at least 15 years. But after that deed restriction runs out, that person can sell that house, or their child can sell that house, and now they can get into their first investment property.
So let's talk about what the deed restriction is, because I know people are like, what is that? So go ahead.
Deed restriction is to prevent greedy developers from getting houses for $1 to $1,000 from the city and then selling them for $400,000 or $500,000. You understand? I can't get the house from the city through the program, you understand, for a discounted rate.
And
they're giving us the properties for a discounted rate as an incentive to keep the price low. You understand? It's not a big money grab, but it's consistency. If you do it in bulk, 25, 30 houses at a time, you're looking at some money that you can make, but as long as you're doing it the right way, you know. So what that does is keep that developer from being greedy and getting the prices too low and then reselling them for an astronomical price, because that's not the object of a city tax-paying city-owned land property to be. They're not giving it to you for that purpose. They're giving it to you for a purpose to help other unfortunate people to get in position to be able to create generational wealth.
Absolutely. So with that deed restriction, they have to maintain ownership of the house for at least 15 years.
They can sell it, but they got to sell it for the same price that they got it for.
Okay.
You understand?
Wow.
They're not restricting you to live there. You got to keep it. But if you sell it, you can't sell it for no more than with the original price.
Okay.
You understand? That keeps it affordable for at least 15 years. And then after that, anything after 15 years, you know, your kid or you can sell that house. You understand? Then just looking at a young couple that's, or a young individual that's making $50,000 a year straight out of high school even sometimes, or, right out of college, you're 26, 27 years old, making $50,000, $75,000 a year. You need that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, reflecting back, if I was young boy living in the house, if I just have basic hot water, cold water, central heat, central air, insulation, and some good paint on the wall, you understand what I'm saying? I would have been living. I'm the man. Couldn't tell me nothing. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like I would have been getting up extra early, trying to get to school, and you know what I mean? This would have been a different vibe. Like, so that's why I know that affordable housing will contribute to help reduce gun violence and help people just be more prosperous and understand how to raise their kids and have more excitement about raising their kids and stuff like that because they got a nice place to put their kid and stuff. So affordable housing is very important right now. So it's a massive initiative by the city. I'm fortunate to be one of the first participants of the Minority Developer Program that's ran by PHDC and the Land Bank. They creating programs for developers to be involved with in order to help level the playing field between white developers, basically, or bigger developers, as opposed to black and brown developers. So, like, along with that is just a lot of, game that's being given out and being understood when getting involved with city government. The moment that you get involved with city government is the moment that you got an opportunity to really make a lot of money for real. I mean, this thing about the government, they got all the real estate, they got all the land, you understand? They got a lot of work that need to be done in a lot of them old buildings they own, you understand? So fine print construction, my other part that you don't know about is, allowing us to be that triple threat, where we the developers, the owners, and we the contractors.
Okay. So, triple threat for real. Yep. Okay. Okay. I mean, Mr. Bey, I'm listening to your story, and the fact that you've been home for what? How long?
10 years now.
10 years. You have been instrumental in the music industry, gun violence, real estate development,
criminal justice
reform. I mean, you're like a Renaissance man here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's just so inspirational, because some people, and here's the thing, right? When people, if you came out of prison and you went to go get a job, most people wouldn't hire you, right? Because of your background. Not knowing who you truly are, the man that you've developed yourself into, right? And it's just so sad. Like you said, criminal justice reform. I think that there should also be some, reform once people get onto the streets too with these employers and, all of that. I know that there are a lot of initiatives out there, but is there something else that you've been involved in as well?
Well, this understanding that when you're on probation with your family, you're on probation with your friends. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to prove yourself is the bottom line. Because don't nobody know what you coming home on. You know what I mean? And when you're in over 5 years or more, you know what I mean, you used to know people. They don't know who the hell you is coming home. And you don't know who you coming home to either. Like, everybody changed like this, man. You know what I mean? Like, time don't wait for nobody. So it's like you really do got to get to work. You got to take your time, but hurry the hell up, like, you know what I mean? Because to take your time is not doing something stupid to get yourself put back in prison, but hurrying the hell up is the aspect of you knowing that you don't have a lot of time to get stuff done. Like, you don't know when you're going to be called back to your Lord, like, you understand? So you don't have no time to waste, like, you know what I mean? So you really got to get to work. I work hard, like, you know what I mean? I work extremely hard, you know what I mean? And I learned a lot. Just, coming home, having to learn stuff, you know what I mean? Then having to implement it, is a lot. And you got to really, ain't no skipping no beats. Ain't no skipping no bases. Like, you got to really put your hands on everything that's coming through the door as related to construction and development and things to that extent. Like, ain't nobody going to give you nothing. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to work your behind off and really just, and it ain't for the weak. You got to be strong, you got to be confident, you got to be fearless. You know what I mean? Because you look up, you owe people $4, $5, $10 million. You know what I mean? A lot of people get scared of being in that type of element like that. Don't even want to owe nobody. Don't want to use their credit card and shit.
That's
you know
me. I hate that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
So I understand.
You know, so I studied in prison though. Like I said, it was really a lot of benefits in it. Like I said, because I studied a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have studied when I was home. You know, I was a book reader when I was home. I had a library in my house when I was younger, and like as a young adult, married and everything like that. You know what I mean? So I always had structure in my life. But when I went to prison, I really got a chance to read a lot of stuff that I really wouldn't have read from cover to cover.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So I read Robert Kawasaki. I seen his perspective. Then I started studying Dave Ramsey. You know what I'm saying? His perspective, no debt. Like you.
Yes, no debt.
You know what I mean? Then the other one, the stream debt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He is. Robert
Kiyosaki, They're two opposite of the totem pole.
You
like
just gotta
one
find
love
that
debt,
medium.
and one don't like no debt. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, you just gotta find that medium and just get to work. Is the bottom line. With us, we gotta start out in some damn debt. We ain't had nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and my thing is like, but just get prepared to try to pay it off eventually. But at the end of the day, it's about just really building generational wealth. You gotta really go hard at that stuff. Like I started out, you know what I mean, South Philly, doing my own little rehabs and stuff. You know, even before I went to prison, you know, I was doing a little bit of real estate, and then when I came home, I really went extra hard with the real estate and just started doing my own stuff. Me and my partner Jazz.
Okay, yes.
Down in South Philly, you know what I mean.
Jazz.
We started doing little stuff together. Cause when I come home.
He has an amazing story too.
Oh
but
yeah,
go ahead.
that's what I'm gonna say. I'm going to just tidbit, but I was gonna tell. Jazz used to be a crackhead. You know what I mean? I'm talking about Pookie on the street boy. You know what I mean? Turned it all around. He used to work for me. I used to go get him. You know what I mean? Yo, come on, man, get in the barbershop, getting him out of old houses, cars and stuff. I come home, Jazz worth $20 million. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, I never even charged him to work in my barbershops and stuff. Just,
those were your barbershops?
New Dimension was mine, right there on Point Breeze. That was mine. That was a 20-chair hair salon I had.
Oh, I didn't know that was yours.
I owned it too, but I owned it before I renovated it and everything.
Okay.
So Jazz was working there in that building. That was my building the whole time.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
My sister was upstairs. I had 8 units upstairs and 12 units downstairs.
Oh, okay.
So Jazz was this my manager and this my guy, my friend. I'm like one of the first guys he ever cut their hair. You know what I mean? Little guinea pig joint. Like,
wow.
You know what I mean? So that's my man. You know what I mean?
Listen, his boat is no debt.
That's right. That's right. Because now he all out of debt.
Yes, he all out of debt.
You know what I'm saying? He all out of debt. You know what I mean? And see, that's the beauty about my experience too. I got a lot of mentors. I got a lot of guys that did it for real. You know what I mean? Did it, failed, did it well. You understand? And I get the chance to, hey man, what's up with this? What's up with that? I ask a million questions. You know what I'm saying? I'm vicious research ball. I'm information junkie. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna be on it, like, you know what I mean? So, and I got a lot of, and as I grew higher. I got guys that's smarter than Jazz or on higher levels than him and higher levels than the next guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? And as I go, I get different higher level mentors to help me move through the totem pole. And that's how I end up starting from single family homes, multi-units, to a duplex. Sold my duplex when I came home from prison. Sold that for $500,000. Only paid $2,000 for it back in the day. On 18th and Carpenter, I had a property there on 18th and Carpenter. Paid $2,000 for it back in the day. Put like $125 in it. Came home, sold it for $500. Bought another property, 3-unit for $175 from a friend of mine. I actually built that place for the guy. And I know I charged him $175 to build it. Then he ended up selling it to me for $175. So I got a great deal with that. Ended up selling that later on 2 years, 3 years down the line for $400,000. Then I went to Broad Street. You know what I mean? Bought this 4-unit building. You know, refied out of that. I refied out of the 4-unit building. Then I bought 10 other units down the street. Actually, 3 other lots. 3 other lots down the streets I developed. I didn't buy all of them, but I developed all of them.
Okay.
You understand? And then I ended up selling one to the architect, keeping one for myself. And on the 3rd one, I had 2 partners with, and I ended up selling my interest in that later. You know what I mean? But that's how I went through the whole totem pole. Like, you know what I mean? Now I'm doing a 17-unit historical property on Parkside Avenue that I have. And I got another about 100 and something units that we get ready to do with the affordable housing in Point Breeze.
Nice.
So just giving you like a chronological order of just how
you're moving up.
Yeah. How
you're moving up. Moving on up.
Yeah, the growth,
Yes.
So, but it's no skipping steps. Single family, duplex, triplex, fourplex, sixplex. Then you get to skip up. You understand? Now you got the experience. Now I'm at the 17 unit, understanding what that's like, a 1200 amp meter and all that. I ain't knew nothing about none of this. Took me 2 years to get that. I almost went bankrupt waiting for that part.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So you learn different, every level you learn different stuff, and I see why the banks want to know what your real estate and construction experience is about. Because it ain't skipping no steps. You got to know this stuff.
It really is.
You know what I mean? Because you can go tank. You can tank out. You got to know how much it costs to buy at, how much it costs to fix, and how much can I rent it for. Those are 3 things that primarily mess you up within the deal. If you don't get those 3 things right before you start the deal, you're dead. You know what I'm saying? You're dead.
That's why they say it's all about the numbers.
It's all about the research and making sure that the numbers make sense and things is penciling out the right way. So that's the stuff there that I kind of like, I think that separates me from the black guys that's into real estate and black guys that's into development. You understand? Because I just think all of us need to understand that we all developers. But we carry it sometimes from a cultural perspective. As you just know, he in construction and real estate. But when you think developer and you understand what goes into development of projects, I just think you think from a different perspective and you underwrite your deals differently. You underwrite your deals differently. You learn those languages like underwriting your deal, understanding how to put your numbers and analytics together for your deal structure for the banks, because I didn't know nothing about a developer fee, in my budget with a bank. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just at cost. Hey, he gonna charge me this, he gonna charge me that. This how much it's gonna cost me. Nah, that ain't how the white boys playing. You understand? They got big budgets. You know what I mean? For the same line items you got, but they got enough space in that budget to pay the people and make some money off of that.
Yeah.
And if something happened, it's contingencies in there. I ain't know nothing about that. General conditions, I ain't know nothing about that. There's a whole lot of other line items you can put in these joints, in these deals to make these deals, pencil out the right way still, but protect you and make sure that you're getting the deal done and getting it done right.
Right. So, if a person wanted to, what advice would you give to a young developer from the very beginning? Like I want to get into real estate, I want to invest. What's the very first thing that you suggest that they do?
Research, knowledge. Take a construction class. I went to Temple University, and I was already building houses. I was already almost finished the 18-unit development that I was doing. But I went back to real estate school, and then when I came out of back to construction management school. When I came out of there, I was confident as I don't know what. I learned a lot.
A lot of people won't do that. A lot of people
go get a job for a construction company, and go get to a construction school. Because that's where the numbers is at in real estate. Forget how much the house costs. You're going to get that. That's relatively easy. And it is what it is. This is what I want. This is what you're willing to pay. You understand? But the construction is about knowing the numbers. That's where you got to know the game at. You understand? If you attack the construction first and learn that, understand what a 2x4 is, and a window sill, and a fire-rated door, and a LVL, piece of wood, and
installations and all that
foundations and installations and paint and how to put those costs together, because all the doorknobs, all that stuff,
everything is a line item.
Everything is a line item. So once you learn the construction element of it, the real estate stuff will really become easier for you, I believe.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing all this wonderful information, Mr. Bey. We really do appreciate you. Hopefully, your story has inspired many to move forward.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I did 10 and a half years in prison. South Philly, born and raised. You understand? During the worst times of South Philly. And you know what I mean? And it's just like, if I can do it, you know you can do this stuff too.
Yeah.
But you got to work your ass off.
You got to work.
You got to work and put your work in. And like,
it ain't easy.
Sacrifice, you know what I'm saying? And see, I ended up getting drug money and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Getting a couple buildings back in the day and all that. You don't got to do all of that, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now that's dead. You ain't getting out like that. That's dead. You're going to jail. You're going to get killed. You know what I mean?
Say it again, please.
You're going to get killed. Bottom line.
Bottom line. So that is not the life you want to live. Live positively. Live holistically. And please share information, because I know I'm going to get calls about it. The affordable housing development that you have coming
the
available.
main thing, y'all, is go to my page too. Follow me, Dawud at D4S, Dawud Bey at D4S. That's my page, and you can go into a link. I got a link that's live in there where you can sign up for the Turnkey program. It's in my link tree.
Okay.
So you go to the link, you sign up for the Turnkey program, and that they're going to walk you through the entire process. They're going to call you. They're helping you with the whole process is getting
credit,
qualified,
everything.
Credit repair, mortgage assistance, which means all the money that you're going to need. We don't got to put no money down. The banks don't have no credit requirements that they're working with. TD Bank, Penn Community Bank.
They don't have any credit requirements?
No credit requirements.
Oh, my God. Y'all.
It's because they helping, because they are part of the affordable house mission.
I love
and it's part of the community benefit packages that the city places on these big banks that's doing all this banking in our communities. They got to get back.
Yes, they do. And a lot of people don't know that. Yeah.
These mortgages that they doing is for low-income individuals. And if your income is at a certain rate, they're going to come and help you with the mortgages. The bottom line, you're getting low interest rates, 3%, 4%, 5% maybe with an interest rate, when the interest rates are still crazy right now.
Yes, they are.
So it's a different program now. So all you got to do is sign up. They're going to walk you through. South Philly, they got Dixon House. North Philly Urban League. All these different organizations that's within the community helps you also with these ancillary support systems that you're going to need to help you through these type of processes. They're going to help you with all of that. All you got to do is sign up with the Turnkey program. They're going to ask you what neighborhood you want to be in, what's your first priority, second priority, third priority, or which neighborhoods that you want. I say pick South Philly, Brewery Town. Those areas that's popping right now. You know, that's going to increase in value later on for you down the line. So get involved with this Turnkey program initiative that we have. This is an initiative that's really, really something that's going to be beneficial for a lot of people and have a major impact on our city.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks again. I mean, I can honestly say this is probably one of it's one of my favorites so far.
This is a special episode right here.
Yeah, it's definitely a special episode. You know, hearing your story is just amazing. I mean, I feel like you did all of that in 10 years.
Right.
I'm like, we got to get to work, Chris.
Yes,
we got some things to do in life.
Step it up.
Yes, we got to step
Come out,
it up.
hit the ground running. I'm ready. I'm like a dog that was put in the basement. That's the example that I use. When you got a dog coming out of the basement, what are you doing? He running all around. That's me.
Yeah. That was you.
He's still around my house to the day. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's from me pacing back and forth in that damn prison cell. But at the end of the day, man, it's too much opportunity out here to be broke. I'm going to tell y'all one last final story, one of my federal prison stories. Something that blew my mind. I met a guy I didn't even meet the guy, but I realized this guy was selling 5 flies for $1. Flies that fly around on shit. Yep.
Okay.
5 flies for $1. So I'm like, what they selling flies for? I was in the feds in Florida at the time. And in Florida, the inmates would have spiders as their pets and shit. You understand? The big spiders and lizards and all that. They, that's their little pets and stuff. So that's the reason he was selling the flies. He figured out a market is the bottom line. A need.
Find that gap.
5 flies for $1. You see this joker on the yard, he like this. He catching flies like this and catching flies with a bread bag. He was so good, he'd put a bread bag over there, fly up into the bag.
Oh my God.
But that taught me a lesson that if you want to make money, there's so many different ways to make money nowadays.
Yes.
And he wasn't a dude in the jail stealing people's stuff, getting cracked over the head from going in people's lockers and stuff. So I gained a lot of respect for him. Like, you understand? But it also made me put a lot of pressure on people. The head is this guy's in prison that's selling 5 flies for $1. I'm calling home and you telling me you broke?
Yeah.
I won't even call him no more. I stopped calling guys. I call home, hey, man, send me $100. Man, I'm dead, man. Really? Man, there's a guy here selling 5 flies for $1, man. I ain't never calling this back. But I'm just letting you know, is get up off your behind and put yourself to work, figure it out, use your mind, you understand, and be creative, you know what I mean, and just work at what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? And get home before the lottery come on. That's one of my favorites. Stay out of trouble.
Stay out of trouble before the lottery.
I don't play the lottery.
Say 7 o'clock.
That's right. At 7 o'clock. Get in before the lottery. You stay out of a lot of trouble. After that, you out there board jobbing and you spending too much money on the streets.
Yes.
So get off the streets, y'all.
Yes. Thank you. 5 flies for $1, y'all.
Flies for $1, y'all. Bottom line.
All right, guys. This has been another episode of Real Talk with the Real Estate Diva. This is Desarrie, Real Estate Diva McDuffie. If you would like to reach me, I can be reached at www.phillyrealestatediva.com or on Instagram at Philly Real Estate Diva. Facebook, same thing. Twitter, same thing. Or you can call my office, and my office number is 267-238-2877. Do not text that number. Leave a message, and I will give you a call back. All right, guys, this has been an awesome show.
Thank y'all. This was dope. I was super happy to be here.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
thank
So,
you.
Maybe I'll get some more stuff done in my life and y'all welcome me back.
1,000%. Like I told you, we in a race now, sir.
Let's go.
We racing. Let's go. I'm inspired. But really quickly, one of the things and I know we're out of time, but I just wanted to say this. Your story sort of reminds me of when God says, he will restore basically the days that you lost. Right. Like it doesn't matter where you are in life, right? Like
about where you going. It's
about where you're going and the effort you're willing to put into where you're going. And look at everything this man has accomplished in 10 years. 10 years. 10 years. Yeah, I done wasted some time. Got some things to do. So y'all be blessed. Hopefully this has been inspiring to you guys. And I will talk to y'all next week.